Hello, my name is Cassandra Escobar and my multimedia project is on the Bracero program. My research question is, in what ways did racism take place in the Bracero program? So I want to give you a little bit of background information. What was the Bracero program? This was an agreement between the U.S., the Mexican government, and the Bracero workers, and it granted them temporary work in the agricultural department while the U.S. was in World War II. A lot of farmers in the U.S. had gotten drafted and had to leave their jobs to fight in the war. So in order to fill those jobs, we had asked for help and had about 22 million workers come over and fill those vacant spots. This program lasted for about 22 years, even after World War II. But there was one big flaw in this program, and it was that workers of this program often faced a lot of racial discrimination. So this is the first part of the multimedia project. This is called What is on Your Mind? I'm going to go ahead and give you a few moments to look at it, and then I will describe to you what it represents and why I drew it. Racial discrimination happened everywhere and had big effects on the Bracero workers. These impacts were both physical and mental and last a lifetime. I drew this piece to represent the mindset of a Bracero worker. The fire represents rage in the Bracero's body. The water droplets are actually tears, and this represents a Bracero's face and sadness. The hat represents the head, and the thought bubble above represents what a Bracero worker thinks about 24/7. Low wage, no privacy, no time off, bad medical, poor housing and working conditions, and missing family caused a lot of sadness, anger, and fear. Since they experienced so much racial discrimination in their line of work, these were the problems they had faced every single day. So this is the next part of the multimedia project. It is a poem I wrote called Summer Sun Sweat, and I'm going to read it to you first before I describe to you what it represents and why I wrote it. The sun is beating down, it's making me sweat. It makes me feel anxious and makes me cry. I'm so afraid that I might die. Suddenly I drop, my mind goes blank. The people around me dive to my rescue. As my head hits the dirt, I lose it. My hat rolls away from me, and my Bracero heart turns sick. Sweat no longer dripping, my mind is at rest. Since my heart isn't beating, let that summer sun sweat. With racial discrimination in the program, good medical care was hard to come by. Patients in the program were only allowed to seek care inside of the camps, and these camp doctors were not very sympathetic. They did not have a lot of sympathy or make these patients inside of the camps a big priority. Due to these doctors not having enough sympathy or care for their patients, a lot of these patients had undiagnosed deaths and undiagnosed health problems, and they were not allowed to seek care outside of these camps and go to a public hospital because of segregation. Because of the segregation, going to a public hospital would mean risking deportation. This poem is about a Bracero worker that experienced fatal effects of heat stroke. Heat stroke was one of the most common medical problems in the fields that Bracero workers had faced. This is a skit for the border processing centers. I will go ahead and let you watch it first. It has a little bit of comedic relief and it stars me and my family. After you guys watch it, I will give you the reason why we made it. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the processing centers. Let's get started with your first and last name, please. Got it. So Maria Gonzalez. Perfect. And then can I get your date of birth, please?
So February 22nd. Got it. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give you this card. You're going to bring it over to the man in the corner there. He's going to do your medical exam. Keep this card on you at all times. This is your access to the borders. And then this is also letting us know that you've already done the processing centers at certain times. If you have any questions for me before you go over there. Perfect. All right. Go ahead and get your medical exam. Thank you.
Okay, can I please get your identification card? Thank you. Okay, Maria Gonzalez, and February 22nd. Okay, we're going to begin your examination now. Okay, can I please see both your hands? Okay, now nails down. Good. Now palms up. Okay, good. Now, let me see your eyes. Good. Now open wide. Good. Okay, your examination looks good. Now we are going to have to sanitize you though. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're going to sanitize you. Okay, time to sanitize your things. Okay, your exam looks good. Now you just need to go where your card designates you. And here's your card back. And you have a nice day.
So this skit was to give an idea of the racism the Bracero workers faced in the very beginning of their journey. These workers would go through dehumanizing medical examinations for about 8 hours of the day, and if they passed, they would then be sent to the camp or field where they would be working at. If they did not pass, they would be sent back home to Mexico. The United States was obsessed with cleanliness, especially in El Paso, Texas, and the Mexicans entering the borders at processing centers were either given an option to take a kerosene bath or be sprayed down in kerosene, along with their belongings. So this is the next part of the multimedia project. I'm going to give you a moment to view this one, and then I'm going to tell you why I made it and what it represents. This is a drawing that I had made called No Mexicans Are Dogs, and it shines light on the problem of segregation. Segregation in the program was widespread, especially in the public. It was common in restaurants, stores, barbershops, or even movie theaters to walk into a building and see a sign that said no Mexicans or dogs. The government was determined on making sure that braceros were separate from the public because they were considered dirty and diseased. Even though this may not be true, this did not stop the U.S. from making sure that the braceros had stayed in their assigned camps. This picture was drawn to show what people of the United States thought of bracero workers, and thought that they should never be let out in the public areas. I believe these projects highlighted the student learning outcomes because they show a deeper understanding of how segregation and discrimination in the Bracero program have serious consequences. And these projects also interpret ways that race intersects with certain social relationships and power dynamics. After the events that the Bracero workers had gone through, I think it is important to do everything in our power to combat racism so that we do not face the same problem that Braceros faced in 1942. In order to keep this from occurring again, I think it is important for the world to educate itself on different cultures and ethnicities, and to learn to be more accepting and understanding of different people. Thank you so much for your time.